Hello, and welcome back to the It's In You podcast. So today I am wanting to talk about let's not dread menopause. Let's start to prepare for it. So I am dog sitting someone's dog at the moment. So if you hear a dog barking, it is our little friend's dog. It's not quite used to the noises and that in our house, and we have a studio at the back of the house, and obviously people are coming and going, so every time it hears people it starts barking. So if you do hear a dog barking, that is our friend's little pup, Luna. So I really want to talk about menopause is there is so much information out there about it. There is becoming more information about it, but obviously it's something that is lots of women start to dread it. And depends on, everyone's heard, depends on what any female people around you went through themselves. Depends on that's what they've probably told you. And lots of women that I know has been, spoken about very negatively. And I really want you to come from, to start preparing from it in a way that you can thrive for it. And it doesn't have to be the horrible, dreaded menopause that everyone sees it as. I was training a client the other day, and he said to me, when should my wife be going through menopause? He's like, I'm dreading it, and I'm dreading it already. And I said to him, she's probably already, he was in his 50s, she's in her late 40s. I said, she's probably already going through symptoms, and maybe you don't even notice, and she's already going through stuff. So the way that it is spoken about is quite negative, and I really ask you to reframe and to start seeing it from a more positive point of view, and that you could look at preparing for it, and so then you can thrive through the whole menopause process instead of seeing it as a really negative thing to go through. So lots of people can be quite sad. They could view it as instead of viewing it as the end of your reproductive years, you could see it as beginning and a birth of a whole new you. Some positive things that we could look at by going through menopause is that be the end of your monthly period cycles, so you will not have to worry about them anymore. A couple of months ago, I went away with my mum, and just as we were going away, I realized I got my period, and my mum was like, oh, thank God, I don't have to worry about that anymore. So that's a feeling that you don't have to worry about those types of things. There's obviously no risk of pregnancy. If we are not cycling, we are not going to get pregnant. If you are somebody that has bad menopause, period symptoms, cramping and all of those things, it looks, most of them should be going. We can have disappearing hair, so maybe not as much hair around, and we can look to have a new zest on life. So it doesn't have to be the end, it doesn't have to be the horrible thing that it is portrayed at. Now, it's really interesting to understand menopause is actually 1 day in time. So it's 1 day. So the menopause is the day that your period has stopped cycling for 1 year. Now, I know lots of women that get so close to that 1 year mark, and then they get their period back, and then their time starts again. So, so menopause is that day. Menopause is only 1 day, but we all talk about it like this big dreaded thing. Now, perimenopause is the lead up to menopause. So it is defined as the time period where your body makes a transition to menopause, and it can be marked by your erratic fluctuations of your estrogen, and this could start 10 years before menopause. So that 1 day. So the average age, and everybody's individual, everybody's different, but the average age is 51. Go through menopause, but symptoms can start 10 years before. Some people go through it earlier, some people go through it later. So symptoms of menopause can start in your 30s, and we're all different. What I'm asking you to be is to start knowing this. We all know that this is a phase that we're going to go through. As a female, it is something we have no control over. It is something that is going to happen to us, but what you do have control over is how you prepare for it and how you handle it. I'm not saying, I know everybody's different. I am not saying that it will be a breeze. I'm not saying that there won't be difficult times or you won't feel crappy, but the more that you can prepare for it, the more that you can start to understand your body a little bit better. I truly believe that the symptoms won't be as bad as what they are perceived by everybody else. And there is also there is more research out there, and there is more help out there. It is quite an under-researched area. So until the generation, my mum's generation, so my mum's in her late 60s, so her generation is the first generation to actually exercise. And it's to exercise through and after perimenopause. So more research is coming out about the benefits of that and how good it is for you. It was a really, if you look up pregnancy or any of those things, there is so much research and papers and all of that on how to look after the mom and the baby and everything else. But if you look up perimenopause, menopause or perimenopause, any of those things, there is not much research. And when you go to your GP, you might find that that you just get very blanket answers. And it can be very, very frustrating. And I'll give you a view of a bit of my journey. Now, I'm 41, so I am not in menopause. I still have a regular cycle, but I probably did notice a few years ago, I started to notice that I had put on weight. I'd put on weight and, no matter what things I kind of did, understanding my weight around my abdomen. So, so I went to my GP saying, could I be starting perimenopause? I want to be getting on top of this before this happens, before I hit menopause. I want to get on top of this. Can you check? And I was kind of just dismissed. No, you're cycling regularly. That's it. So, I went and saw a different GP. I went to a women's specialist. So I thought, right, okay, these people are for a women's specialist, so they, must be on top of this, I presumed, must be on top of all this. I just want to make sure that I'm getting onto this early. If I'm already noticing that I'm putting weight on, I don't want to, I don't want to continue to put weight on. I went to this women's specialist and I left in tears because, I understand being a personal trainer, being in the fitness industry for as long as I have, training so many women. I understand I understand my nutrition and my exercise, and I just could not, I went to them explaining this and just was saying, there's something different going on in my body. And, and I was dismissed again. And then I was just offered a weight loss drug. And I was like, no, I don't. I was actually blown away when I was offered that. But I was like, that's not what I'm looking for. I know there's been a change in my body and I'm just trying to navigate what is going on here. And I left in tears, and I remember feeling really devastated because I remember thinking, if I've left feeling this way and I'm confident about my body, I'm confident, I thought, how do other women leave? How do other women leave when they've gone to this doctor? I went to this place because it was recommended by someone else. I went there because it was a women's specialist. So I presumed that they would, and just to be kind of dismissive, being like, well, you're only 40. I really felt like crap when I left, and I just felt like hopeless. I felt like there was nothing that could be done. And I just knew that my body wasn't feeling right. I felt really frustrated, but yeah, I did feel sad because I thought, gosh, this has made me want to cry. And, I come across many women who have spent their lives not being happy with their bodies, dieting, and all of that other stuff, and already not being confident in that way. And then to be kind of really dismissed by a doctor, I thought, how do those women feel? This is not fair. And I don't want that for anybody. So that was a bit of my journey. So what I want you to understand is that it's really hard to diagnose perimenopause. It's a very under-researched area. It's also hard to diagnose because your hormones are fluctuating. daily, so it can be. But what I want you to do is to give you the power and to understand that you know your body better than anyone. This doctor that I met for like 15 minutes, she already judged me. What bugs me the most is I always get judged because I'm a personal trainer. So they're like, yep, I get put in a box, and you can get put in a box for that way. And I know there are some GPs that are really, really different, and it's good to find that one that works for you. But what I'm saying is that you take the power. You know your body better than anybody. So if you start to notice changes, if you are not feeling right, then let's start to do something about it. And there is so many things that are in your control that you can do, and you can start being prepared for this phase of life that we know is coming up. There is so many different myths and all that about menopause. And, I really urge you to choose who you listen to, choose who you listen to as to how they speak about it. And, also if you're surrounding yourself with people that are speaking about it quite negatively, you're only going to take on that energy. So it's really, also really important to think about how you're viewing it and, who you're surrounding yourself with. I'm not saying that I know lots of women that really feel like tearing their hair out and that feel terrible, and it's really, really hard. I understand all of those things, but I do think there's lots of things that you can do. And the earlier that you start preparing and getting yourself in those routines, the more likely you're going to be able to stick to it throughout that transition period. It can feel, obviously the lead up to it can feel daunting. It's something we know is going to happen. You hear anyone say the dreaded menopause, and I know you can feel like you don't have any control, but I'm going to give you some things that you do have control over. And like I said, it's starting to create habits early in order to reduce the symptoms. And everyone's different. Everybody is different. I know my Gram, she talks about she really, really struggled through menopause. That she had a really, really rough time, where my mum feels like she cruised through it. We're all unique. And I just think as more research is coming out there, as times are changing, I think there is so much more that's in your control than what was before. What would I suggest to start looking at early? I would get yourself into a good exercise routine. So create your habits of exercise and build onto it. With fluctuating hormones, our hormones do fluctuate, but we can start to look at exercising and moving in a way that works towards our cycle. And, starting to make sure that you are doing some form of resistance training. So resistance training is using weights. You're going to do resistance weights and do functional movements, because as we get older, it is so important to make sure that we're moving well and you're moving as your body intended. We are more sedentary than ever. So movement is not how it used to be, and people they underestimate the value of movement. Now, yes, you might feel tired and you might feel lethargic and that you can't be bothered to do it, but the more of a routine that you can get into with your exercise, the better you are going to feel long term. I've been a trainer for over 14 years. I've had so many women, they'll start and they'll stop. And, then they realize, like, God, I wish I never stopped because it was so hard to get started back up. Or, God, I forgot how good I feel when I move. And, it's find someone that you can go to that will adapt the exercise to suit you. The exercise, whether you go to a one-on-one trainer, whether you go to a group class, any of things, or whether you're happy to do something on your own. But, it's look at adapting your exercise to your cycle. This was something that I didn't really value when I was younger, but definitely now I value my energy levels as my cycle goes. Yes, I understand in perimenopause the cycle goes all over and it's unpredictable, but just on the day, gauge on how you're feeling, because there'll be days that you have more energy than others. But the other thing is that if you don't do anything, you'll feel crappy for it. But just know that you can move in some way and understand the importance of movement. So movement is not just for weight loss, it's for your mental health. It can help. I don't know anybody that walks out of my classes and says, God, I wish I never did that. They always leave feeling better for it. We generally have a laugh, and they can move in a way that's safe for them. Not only for your mental health, but, as after 30, if you are not actively working on your muscles, you start to lose them. So, as you get older, your muscle protects your bones, which if you have a fall, then it's going to prevent them from breaking. We do specific exercises to help with your bone density. People that have osteoporosis or osteopenia, any of those things, exercise is going to help prevent problems, help prevent problems with your bones and help keep them strong. And again, it's exercising safely and according to your fitness level and where you're at. So, and getting yourself in a good exercise routine early means when you're hitting those stages, you've already got that habit in place. So, you're going to know that you can, know that you can adjust your exercise, and you can adjust it accordingly. And the more that you start to understand, how it feels towards your cycle, how it feels certain times a month, we can actually stop beating ourselves up. This week, I know that my period is due. I know that it's coming up. And I know that I tend to be, like this week I'm feeling a little bit flatter. So I'm not pushing myself as much. I'm still exercising and I'm still moving, but I'm not doing as hard a workouts as what I was doing last week. That doesn't mean I'm a worse person. That doesn't mean I'm unfitter or hopeless or a bad person, any of those things. It just means I'm listening to my body, and that's what I urge you to start doing. So my first thing was get into a good exercise routine. For that exercise is, it's honestly going to save your life. Yes, I'm a trainer. It's something I'm very passionate about, but I think keeping active and moving is going to save your life in so many other ways than not doing anything. So it's really, really important. As we go into this new phase of our life, we really want to make sure that we are, keeping a good routine up with our exercise. Secondly, I would really be looking at your food. Now, I'm not asking anybody to restrict your food or, cut back, or to cut out things or cut back. But I really want you to start looking at food and how it affects your body. So the main research is showing that the main symptoms of menopause and when they're worse can be due to, due to inflammation. So we're looking to reduce inflammation. So what you'd be looking at is, foods that cause high inflammation, alcohol, coffee, those types of things, they tend to be more inflammatory. I'm not saying cut them out. I'm just saying, just start seeing how it feels to your body. If you are awake at certain times during the night, that can actually be to do with digestion. So I had a lady that we changed what she was eating at dinner. So she cut out red meat. And all her hot flushes went away. And then she went back to red meat and they all came back. We're all individual, but it's just looking at, I really truly believe there's so much in our food that we can control. And it's starting to look at recipes and find recipes that you like and enjoy, and then see how it makes your body feel. We were brought up, if you're brought up like me, you're brought up thinking that we shouldn't eat any fats, and it's really, really important. And most people, fats are important, and they stop that, that kind of the blood sugar increase. So, it's just looking at how you can fuel your body. So to reduce your inflammation and reduce the symptoms. What you eat is massive. And now more than ever, now more than your parents, more than 10 years ago, 20 years ago, our food is more processed than ever, and we are busier and we are looking for more fast, quick meals. And, all of that is having havoc on our body. So I would look at your food and start creating habits around food, and, really looking to find a way that works for you, that you can fuel your body. my next tip would be stress levels. Now, as a society, we are faster paced than what we've ever been. We are more stressed than what we do, or what people even value. Stress is just something that is accepted, and we, again, don't realize we have a lot of control over our stress and how we can manage it. Now, again, I know with myself, when I am more stressed, my period symptoms are worse, and my periods are actually worse. So, I'm asking you to look at your stress levels and how you can start managing them. Again, everybody's different, but like I'm saying, this perimenopause phase can start 10 years before you actually reach menopause. Like I said, menopause is only that one day. And then also after that one day that your period stops, you can still have symptoms for a long time after. We're all individual. So start getting on top of this stuff. And stress is a major one. Where it depends on, everyone's different, but depends on, I've got people in their 60s that are still having hot flushes and those types of things. I've got people having them in their 50s or their late 40s. So we're all different. For me, I'm I've got two little kids, so not little, but I've got a 10 and a 6-year-old. So my life is quite busy with sports and activities and school and everything else that they have on. My life is very busy at the moment. I keep getting, and I enjoy it, and I know the busyness of my life is choice. And like I always get told by people that have their kids are grown up, they're like, you're right in the middle of it all now. And I think learning to manage your stress earlier, and is always better, and it's going to make you a better parent, a better partner, a better employee, So, a few years ago, I looked at my stress levels and I wrote down, what was kind of stressing me out, and then what I could control and what I couldn't control. I adapted those things and I felt really great. That was a couple years ago. But, then time goes on and more stuff creeps up. So I've had to learn and adapt again. And that is something that we continually need to be looking at and doing all the time to manage your stress levels. It's something, but it takes its toll on you more than what we realize. Stressing, they say stress is the silent killer. It is honestly the silent killer. And I know from personal experience, I know, from my dad and my husband, and seeing them all in stressed phases in their life, how that really affected their health. It is something that is really underestimated, but you can really look at how you can change these things. I have been reassessing my own stress levels lately, and I've really been, like the other day, I had somebody booked in on a Tuesday. I always try to see my grant. I see her on a Tuesday and a Friday, and I wanted to go see her, and then I wanted to come back and I wanted to make a handstand class that I've been doing. And I said to the kids, do you think I can make it up to Grants, come back, train these people, and then go to handstand? And Charlie, so she's 6, and she said to me, Mum, no. She goes, that's too much. And she was right. 6-year-old knows better than me. I just want to fit it all in. And so I ended up not going to handstands and went and saw my gram. Assessing, and I'm making those decisions on what I know is going to work, and trying to not overcommit myself, which I'm very bad at doing, but I'm getting better of it. And it's, realizing that those things and your stress levels are in your control. So I would really look at managing your stress and putting in stress management strategies. It's really, really important, and it needs to be reassessed. The biggest thing I see for women is they keep their cup empty. So I had a mum saying to me, I'm snapping all the time. I don't know what's going on with me. And, it's really easy to say, well, that's menopause. Let's start blaming that. But the thing is, it's just that your cup is empty. So it's the same thing. Managing your stress is keeping your cup full. Keeping your cup full doesn't make you selfish. It makes you a good person, because you're looking after you. And the same thing, when you're looking after you, you're better for your children, all the people around you. So work out what are those things that keep your cup full. When this person, we'd spoken about it, she realized like she was no longer going to book club, and she was no longer doing this, and she had an added stress of a sick mum. So, so we've got so much other things going on that it is really, really important. And we always think, oh, I'll be okay. And yeah, you will be okay. But the other thing is it starts to take its toll on your body, and therefore your symptoms, how menopause appears to you. If you are more stressed, it's more likely going to have a different, a worse effect on your body. So there are things you can do to manage that. And lastly, look at your sleep. So these are all things that are in your control. Sleep is really underestimated how beneficial it is. I see lots of women say, oh, I can only last on a few hours sleep. And I'm sure you can. And so can I. But I feel 1,000 times better when I get, a good 7 to 8 hours sleep a night. I also understand how lots of women, we just want that little bit of time on our own at night time. Time away from the kids, or time just, away from anything, just to switch off. And so we may end up staying up later. But it's just really thinking about that staying up later, how does that affect the rest of your day? So that extra 1 or 2 hours at night, is it worth feeling crappy for those 16 hours during the day? When we are more tired, we tend to make poorer decisions with food. We feel less motivated to exercise, and it really does take its toll. When you are sleeping is when your body repairs. It's when your body, like if you are exercising and you're trying to eat all the right things, but then you're not getting very much sleep, it will take its toll. Symptoms of perimenopause and all that do affect your sleep. So trying to helping you, have a good sleep routine, find the things that help you sleep better. So for me, if I do restorative like yoga or those things before bed, I get a better sleep. If I, switch the iPad off, I worked out if I wear those blue screen glasses that take out the light, and I know you can do that on your iPad too. I like to watch something in bed that helps me switch off. If I wore them, I noticed on my watch the sleep quality was better. It's all different, but it's having that routine that helps you wind down. I know lots of people have baths, and it's really helping you in that way to get a better night's sleep and prioritize the sleep. I also made a change in my morning. Instead of getting up early, I exercise in the afternoon. Getting up earlier to exercise, I'm prioritizing having a bit of a longer sleep, and that has been good for my body too. But we're all unique, so prioritize your sleep. I said that was my last one, but I forgot. So the last thing is community. One of the biggest things for aging, any of those things, is to have a community of people around you, that can help support you and not make you feel alone. It's been a very fast-paced society at the moment, and so many different things going on. This research just shows that we don't laugh as much, which I think is really, really sad. So the fact of having a good laugh and, just unwinding. And, unwinding can mean having a glass of wine and, those types of things. So it's like having that community around you and having those laughs and having those people that you can talk to and bounce off. They are the best things. I listened to a podcast probably a year or so ago, and I loved it. And this lady was in her 80s, and the biggest thing she said for keeping her young was having people around her in the community. She was all part of different groups, and she was really active and moving around. And I thought, that's what I want to be. I want to be doing things and keeping myself around people to help keep you young and feeling needed and all of that. So put yourself in a community of people that are like you, and so then you don't feel alone and isolated, because again, feeling that way can make all of those symptoms worse for you. Now, please understand, let's not start dreading menopause. Let's not talk about it negatively. Let's understand that it is something that it happens to all women. It is a natural part of life. It is meant to happen. It's our process. But, it doesn't have to be seen as a negative, horrible thing. It can be seen as a whole new you. We're in a different phase of our lives. We are more mature. We are wiser, more confident in ourselves. And let's lead into that lifestyle feeling that way. So, look at the things that you can actually take charge of and start. The sooner that you can get these habits and build these habits, the sooner you can start creating them, the better for you. So start thinking about those things now, and get on top of it. Don't just wait or dread it happening, because when you already have all those routines in place, I guarantee you it will be a lot smoother than what it would be if you didn't have any of those routines in place. So I'm going to love yous and leave yous today. And if you want any help with this, please make sure that you message me. We actually have a new program which is being launched soon, which is all about learning to balance and manage menopause, to help guide you. It has recipe packs and lots of good stuff. It's a 4-week program. So start looking out for that. And if you want more information on that, please send me a message and I will share it with you. I love yous and leave yous. Have a great day.